Hi everyone. For those of you who know me well know that I love the bow staff. I picked this weapon up probably before I even got my black belt, so back in 2008. I used to take my bow staff and go in the backyard. I'd ask my parents if it was okay, and I would set up my digital camera because I didn't have an iPhone at the time. Those didn't exist at the time, believe it or not. I'm not even that old. And I would record myself doing stuff with the bow, watch it again, and keep practicing and practicing and practicing until I got it right. Now that's a great example of accuracy and what you can do with this video as well. You know, take this and keep practicing. Record yourself if you can. Watch yourself do it and then implement what you need to do to get better. So this bow staff right here is actually an extreme martial arts bow staff. It's used on the competition circuit quite a bit. I didn't compete growing up. I still don't compete, but I did perform in Maximum Edge, so that's kind of where this specific weapon came from. You can do these techniques with really any type of bow. If you have the really thick, like I'm talking, it's a big circle called the rattan bow, it'll be much more difficult, but still doable. Ideally though, you have some sort of trick balanced bow staff to do these tricks with. Now there's lots of fancy tricks you can do with the bow staff, and I'm going to teach you one of the very first kind of principal moves that is utilized a lot. It's utilized a lot in transitions in the beginning and towards the end of different bigger trick moves. So once you get this down, we can work our way up to different tricks. So the first thing I'm gonna go over is how to hold the bow. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold the middle of the bow, all right? You're gonna hold it like this. So as you can see, one of my wrists is facing up, that's this one. One of my wrists is facing down, that's this one. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the wrist that's facing up and you're gonna push your bow staff up like this. When you do that, your other wrist is gonna go from facing down and horizontal to facing that way and vertical. All right, just like that. Do that a couple times. Perfect. So now this next part is going to be a little bit difficult because you use a lot of momentum. There's a lot of physics behind it. Now, I'm not great at physics. I don't know a lot about physics. If you want to know about physics, ask Mr. McCoy because he is awesome at it. Me, all I know is that momentum and objects in motions have to do with physics, and that's exactly what this has to do with. So you're going to push up and your hand becomes vertical, wrists facing that way. Then what you're going to do is you're going to open your hand. All right, so it looks like this. I'm barely holding onto the bow staff. It's in between my thumb and my index finger. I'm going to use my thumb and index finger to keep pushing the bow staff in the direction that it's going. All right, so this tip just went from down here. It's going up in this direction. It's going to keep going that direction. All right, so push here. What you're going to do again, use your thumb and your index finger. You're going to balance it on the back of your hand. This is where the momentum becomes important because ideally you're not stopping here. I just wanted to show you kind of what's happening. It's going to continue to rotate. You're going to turn your hand, grab, keep rotating it so that your wrist ends now facing up. So that wrist started facing down, it ends facing up, and the wrist that started facing up is now facing down. So a little bit faster. Wrist that's up pushes, turns horizontal, open, balance, turn your hand, keep the bow going until your wrist turns up again, and then grab. All right, so that's how you do one rotation. And if you do that quickly, it looks like this. So it's the same thing on the other side. If you want to start with the other hand facing up, and now this hand facing down, the wrist that faces up pushes, this other wrist becomes vertical, and your wrist goes in the opposite direction. You're going to open your hand so it's just between your thumb and your index finger. Again, it looks like this. All right, the bow is going in this direction now, so we want it to keep going that way. We're going to let it go over, balance, turn our hand, grab. Keep turning this hand until your wrist turns up again and grab. All right, again, slow motion on this side. This wrist is up, this wrist is down. push, turn vertical, open, over the palm, keep rotating so that wrist is up and grab. So quickly on this side, looks like this. Once you get it down on both sides, then now you can start doing that back and forth rotation, all right? So I'm gonna do it still kind of slow. You go one way, back the other way. One way, back the other way. All right? And then once you start getting used to that, do that nice and slow, then you can start adding speed. All right? And again, it just comes with practice and time, but you need to start at the beginning, get those little steps down, get better and better every time, so then you can get to the end and start doing that fast.